Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video. This one is for those of you who are using the Pokemon Go++ device. And we are talking about a very specific question. You know how the game lets you access the game, well the game lets you access the game while you're tracking sleep. So typically if you're using your phone to track sleep, you can't actually play the game. But unlike that, the Pokego++ allows you to play the game while tracking sleep because it does it as a separate device. It only collects the data in the next morning when you log in again, and only if you press synchronize. It doesn't collect the data if you press cancel. So the question is, and it's been asked many times before, in my Discord especially, should you be collecting berries and ingredients before you synchronize the data? I mean, if you think about it, if you collect all the berries and ingredients and everything first, wouldn't your Snorlax have a higher strength? So that when you do your sleep data, you get a higher drowsy power. And is it possible that by synchronizing the data, after you've collected the drops, could the Pokemon get drops again? So get berries and ingredients again? Because in synchronizing the data, the game then might think to restore your energy and give you the drops over the last maybe 3 to 8 hours that you slept. Essentially doubling up on the farming overnight. Now, I'm going to tell you now, it doesn't work that way. And I'm going to show you now how I prove that's the case. Now, in the back here, I've got a pre-recorded video of this morning. And what I've done is I'm not synchronizing the data from my tracking just yet. And what I'm going to do, so you can see that I press cancel, I didn't synchronize data. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect ingredients for one Pokemon only. And by the way, because I haven't synchronized the data, my entire team is dead. They're on 0 energy. So have a look over here. My Totodile drops only 4 berries and 3 sausages. Being being a berry specialist, that means it's triggered a drop every frequency time about 5 times. So it's had 5 chances to drop. And these are everything I've earned, which sounds about right because at 0 energy, a Pokemon will approximately farm at the frequency rate. And we know that at higher energy, a Pokemon will farm at about higher rates, and at 100% energy, it farms at 2.5 times the rate. So if hypothetically, this Totodile was at 100% energy the whole time, I'm expecting about 2.5 times more drops than this. And also note that I didn't get any sneaky snacking at all. I know I cut the video in and out, you just have to believe me, I didn't get any sneaky snacking at all. And it makes sense because the inventory is not even full. So there can't be any sneaky snacking for any of my Pokemon. And then I left the rest of the team to not collect any berries and ingredients, and then I synchronized the data. So this is where I collect the data from the Go++. Now also pay attention to my Snorlax strength is 270,000. So now we are asking the question, will the drowsy power be calculated based on this power? So this is the calculation of the same morning. And you can see it's 266,000. So 266,000 strength. So it didn't use the new strength that I added to the Snorlax before I claimed the research data, the sleep data. So what's happened here is it's using a previous score, one which was before I had actually started tracking on the Pokego++. It used the Snorlax strength about 6 to 8 hours before right now. So the game knows if you're trying to cheat it. Since typically, if you're not using the ++, you can't claim berries in the middle of a tracking session. Now, one thing that you got to be careful here, and it's happened to myself and several members of my Discord, is that the number that it takes here isn't exactly when or just before you track sleep on the ++. So let's say just before you go to sleep, you collect all the ingredients, and then suddenly your Snorlax reaches the next tier. And then you press the ++ and start tracking. you might find that the next morning it uses a slightly lower strength, which brings you back a tier, and it's a little bit annoying that it does that. I have a feeling it's just limitations of the app and the device. Maybe there's a little bit of discrepancy between when it considers you having started tracking, or maybe the server only keeps or gets data from your app every few minutes, so that it didn't count the last little bit of strength you added to Snorlax before you started tracking. So my only tip is, don't leave it to the last second before you go to sleep when you boost that strength to the next tier. Do it sometime before that. Alright, moving on. So let's see what happens to the berry drops after my sleep study is done. And snacking time is over. And I restored about 68% energy. And immediately we get sneaky snacking. Only from Totodile. Only from my Croconaw. Now look at the amount of ingredients and berries my Pokemon are dropping now. Now that certainly looks a lot more than what my Totodile had given me earlier. And this is their energy levels now. And know that my two Totodiles that I'm running on this team, for comparison's sake, have very similar levels and similar natures. They both have a neutral nature. So if you look at the ingredient and berry drops here, you'll see that the amount of times a drop triggered is about 10 times, because we've got, my apologies, about 6 times because of the number of drops. So 8 berries meaning 4 triggers and 2 ingredients meaning 2 triggers. So a total of 6 triggers, which is more than my other Totodile, which triggered 5 times. Now the numbers are not hugely different, and there may be some discrepancy and some uncertainty in terms of the frequency of the drop. And that's partly because I didn't restore 100% energy, so my more recovered Totodile, the second one that I collected, didn't get the full boost. Regardless, the sneaking snacking alone will tell you that you get more drops of berries if you collect after the plus has connected the data, has synchronized the data. My Croconaw, the Oran berry, is about just over 100 strength per berry, so it's fed an extra 7 berries in the overflow, the sneaky snacking. This couldn't have happened if I had claimed the drops before synchronizing the data. So in conclusion, the tip here is to not collect any berries or ingredients, any drops, while you are tracking sleep. Do it after you've done your sleep study. Otherwise, the berry count will be calculated based on a very low energy Pokemon, like my Totodile earlier. So if this video helped you, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.